Good morning, folks. We're live this morning. It's Friday morning, and the weather outside is actually not bad whatsoever. You can tell the mornings are getting much brighter, which is fantastic, which is absolutely fantastic. And also, if you look at the weather forecast for next week, and I'm not doing the weather forecast, the days are getting a bit warmer. We're back up around 10, 11, 12 degrees, and the evenings are not getting as cold, which is fantastic. So maybe we are definitely on our way to spring. So good morning, and thank you for joining me this morning. We go live every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. I'm Mark Beggs, and this is a morning business show talking about things that have worked for me in business that may work for you. So this morning, it's a Friday book review. And the book I want to do this morning, and we're live on a few channels here, The Rules of Thinking. Now, I read this book a long time ago. I'll tell you why. If you're going to be self-employed and you're going to be working for yourself, one of the things you're going to have, without a doubt, is you're going to have the ability to think for yourself, the ability to make your own decisions, the ability to be your own person. And that's not easy. Not many people can do that. Not many people can think for themselves. We're in a world now where if your opinion isn't the same as the mass, then your opinion is wrong. That people are not allowed to have opinions anymore, which is terrible. So it's important to have your own opinion. And this book starts off by saying, which I like it, and this is by Richard Templar. So if you just go on Amazon, you can buy this book. And it's a very easy read, and the chapters are now in a nice, easy way. So even if you're dyslexic like me, the chapters are nice and short, and they're easy to follow. But he starts off by saying, if you want to be a top-notch thinker, you have to do the work yourself. That is to say, you have to do the thinking. You can't let anyone else do it for you. That might sound obvious, but you'll be surprised how often we take the convenient shortcut of adopting other people's opinions. So he's starting off by giving you a shot across the bow by saying, if you want to be an independent thinker, you need to think for yourself. In other words, you have to have your own opinions, and you have to be willing to back up your opinions. But this book also talks about how not only that, but you have to be willing to listen to other people's opinions. And that's important. Listen to other people's opinions and take them on board and analyze them yourself and see, are they right? Do they suit you? In a world where especially with AI, and we have an awful lot false information going around and false news and false this, it's more important now than ever that when we read something, that we make our own opinion whether it's true or false. We make our own opinion whether it's right or wrong. And we make our own opinion whether we should agree or disagree with it. And it should be down to us to do that. And that takes work. That takes effort. But one of the first rules he has it broken down into rules. And I think it's about nearly 100 rules he has in the book. And rule number one, which I think is a fantastic rule, is avoid, to say that word right, echo chambers. And what he means by that is, well, what Richard Templar means by that is, don't follow the masses. Don't agree with people just for the sake of agreeing with people. If you're going to be self-employed, if you're going to be a business leader, you're going to be a team leader, you need to be able to have and express your own opinions. You can't just follow people for the sake of following them. You can't just follow people in a company environment or in a team's environment just because so many of the people agree to go one way. Doesn't mean it's the right way. Some of the biggest mistakes I've made in business have been because I didn't listen to myself and I didn't follow my own intuition. And they are some of the biggest mistakes I have made, not listening to myself and not following my own advice. And I always remember, and I always know when it's happened, because if something hasn't worked out the way I wanted and I review why it hasn't, most times it's because I've listened to too many other people, maybe someone who was too dominant, who more or less bombarded me with their view, and I didn't step back and listen to my own advice. So make sure you don't go near any echo chambers. So have friends around you who have all different types of opinions, which is fantastic. Have friends around you who have all different political persuasions, all different business persuasions, all different ways of doing marketing, all different ways of chasing business, all different ways of getting sales. That's the type of people you want around you. All those different types of people who have all different ways of doing things. That's what you need. They're the type of people you need around you all the time, and that's important. That's really important. And another one of his rules, which I like, is, as I said, don't believe everything you hear or that is written down. Just because something is written down doesn't make it so. Right? That's another of his rules. The thing is, which I think is a great one, rule number 7 he has, Richard Templar, know who you are. And that's important because he's talking about what defines you. An awful lot of time when people are made redundant or people lose jobs, or if you're self-employed and your company closes down, people define themselves by that and get defined by that. Oh, that's the chap that lost his company. Oh, that's the chap who's made redundant. Oh, that's the girl who lost her job. Oh, that's the girl there whose company went bust last week. Don't let events define who you are. Know who you are. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, not every business is going to work out. Maybe none of them will work out over time. Maybe they all will work out. But don't define yourself by events that happen to you. Don't let that happen to you. Know who you are and express who you are. That's really important. So just because you've lost a job, just because your business is closed down, just because the company you work for is gone bust, don't let events like that define who you are as a person. Know who you are. Know what you stand for. Know what you're all about. If you're an entrepreneur, you're about building value, building a business, employing people. That's what you're about. Giving people the opportunity. If you're an entrepreneur, it's all about creating wealth, not just for you, but for other people. Creating opportunities, not just for you, but for other people. Creating education for people. Because when you're employing staff, you're paying them. And you're paying them so that they can maybe pay mortgages, pay rent, pay for the children's education, all that good stuff. So that's what being an entrepreneur is all about. And if one company closes down, just get up and go and start the second one. If the second one closes down, do it again. Do it again. That's what working for yourself is all about. So know who you are and don't let events define who you are. The other one is just because, which I think this is rule 8, which I like this rule actually. Just because you know who you are, and just because I've said, make sure you follow your own intuition. Make sure you follow what you believe is right. Doesn't mean you can't go out there and get support. For argument's sake, what I'm talking about here is when I was buying the advertising company, I went and got someone to help me raise the money. I also got a firm of accountants and a firm of solicitors. And I went out and sought the support, the expertise I needed for the areas that I needed to fill. But I listened to what they had to say, but at the end of the day, based on the full picture, I made up my own mind which way we needed to go, what we needed to do, and how we needed to do it. But I went out and sought this support, which is important. I went out to find it. And when you find that support, it makes a big difference. But at the end of the day, you have the final say. Don't let other people make a decision for you and then turn around after when it doesn't work out and blame them. You're the boss, it's your decision, and that's important. Take control. Now, this is one of the biggest reasons I work for myself, right? And he has it down as rule number 9. And we're just so you know, folks, I'm going to join us. We're reviewing this book today. Every Friday we review a book that I think you should have on your shelf, especially if you're going to work for yourself. The Rules of Thinking by Richard Templar. That's the book. You can see it there. And rule number 9, which I think should be rule number 1, take control of your own lives. So one thing it says here is when it comes to interpreting what happens in your life, people fall broadly into 2 camps. Those who believe that it's all down to fate and you can't change it, and those who believe that you have free will and control your own life. I believe I have free will and control my own life. But that doesn't mean everything goes great for you all the time. It doesn't. But you can be you can either be someone who gets up every morning and what happens. If things don't go your way today, it's fate. It's written in the sun. It's written in the stars. It's written in the sand. What happens, and you have no control over what happens. You have no control over losing your job. You have no control over getting a promotion. You have no control over passing a driving test. You have no control over getting that promotion or whatever. You have no control over any of that stuff, right? Or if you're someone who is self-employed, who's going out there doing it for themselves, then you have taken control of your own life. People who believe they control their own lives tend to be happier, according to Richard Templar. And I think that's true. We all can't be happy all of the time. But when you take control of your own life and your own destiny, you are happier. When I decided to go self-employed, I could have worked for somebody else. I probably would have been, in some ways, maybe a little bit better off. Sometimes. Maybe I might have a better pension, maybe. I'm still not pensionable age, so I don't know. But maybe things would have been easier at certain points. But that's why you need to take control of your own fate. And you'll find that entrepreneurs are people who control the environment around them and who believe that it's not down to fate, but they have the free will to change things, the free will to make things happen. That's what it's all about. They're not the type of person who believed that when they go to work today, whatever happens, and it's fate. They're not that type of people. So, as he says here, which I agree with him, people who believe they control their own lives are happier. So, and that's what he has in rule number 9. Another one I want to talk to you about, which is here now. I'll just cut it out here. I have some of these marked. Where's what I have here for you? This is rule 65. And this is especially good for people in teams. People who work in companies or run teams of people. Maybe you are an entrepreneur and you have a few people working for you. Or maybe you're in a company where you're leading a company or you're leading a team of people. And it's your job to bring a project in on time, and maybe you have 2, 3, 4, maybe you have 10 people reporting into you as part of your team. And he one of the things he says here, which I like, never assume that people who are silent have nothing to say. And that's very important when you're managing people. Don't always assume that people who are not talking up have nothing to say. Sometimes the quiet people have the most to add to a meeting. Sometimes the quiet people bring the best nuggets to a meeting. Maybe they bring the best ideas to a meeting. And so you should never assume that just because someone's quiet, they have nothing to say. And it's your job as a business leader, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, or as a team leader, to encourage these people to come into the conversation, to be heard. Because you should always have the attitude, and I always have the attitude, no question is stupid. No idea is stupid. And that's extremely, extremely important. I'm just going to... So, as you know, on a Friday, we keep things nice and short. So I would recommend definitely you going out and buying this book today. I've had this for about 10 years, maybe longer. And every now and again, I take it off the shelf and have a read of 1 or 2 chapters. So if you need any more information, it's markbeggs@gmail.com. If you want to have a coffee with me, whether it's a virtual one or a real one, just reach out. If you want me to talk to you about your company, markbeggs@gmail.com. So for everybody else on YouTube and Instagram and everybody else listening to us on LinkedIn, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. It's Friday morning. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. Hope everything goes really well for you the whole weekend. And don't forget, it's Friday. And on Friday, what do? We don't open our mail on Friday. If you want to know what I'm thinking about, look at the video I have on YouTube. But never open your post on a Friday. Never. If you want to protect your mental health, don't open your post on a Friday. So everybody on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, we're going to say good morning to you. Have a great day. And hopefully we'll talk again next Monday. You take care of yourself.